Do you believe Yandere girls are something to be afraid of? I don't think so, but Kiska lives in a town named Katarov, the place where he was born. This village has an S-rank dungeon with lots of baddies inside that are waiting to spank your ass. Because of that, many adventurers are trying to defeat it and claim to be the strongest. On the other hand, the protagonist is a regular man who works as a farmer. Unfortunately, his fields are ruined by the villager head child Draga and his friends. He came to spit on the protagonist's face, suggesting that his harvest is poor this year. Even though he's the one at fault for that, he wrecked with his field. Apparently, the protagonist is an alk. This is how the country is calling the people with silver hair. Not only that, but these people are always bullied. Imagine how short-minded you should be to bully someone like Emilia-sama or Shinometa. Fuck it, even Saika Totsuka. Anyway, this happens because back in the days there was an alk who betrayed the humans and helped the demons. For that reason, he is being beaten right now. Yet, he cannot do anything. He must endure it. Even a small gesture could bring his life to an end. Thankfully, he's not alone. This angel-like being named Namia is here to comfort and treat his wounds. Man, for this opportunity of being treated by her, even I will take a beating with open arms. She's the protagonist's childhood friend, and the only person in the village who is close to him. Even though everyone believes his hair color is disgusting, Namia believes his hair looks kinda cool. It appears that this hair is not bringing him just unfortune, but such a lovely friend. However, what comes next is unspeakable. She's going to marry Draga, the village headmaster child. Upon hearing that, the protagonist tries to hide his sadness with a fake smile and congratulates her. But the girl wants to know if he really is okay with that. She wants to know if Kiska, the protagonist, is planning on living in this town forever. Hearing him saying yes, she suggests he should not. Everyone here is bullying him, and his future is obvious going to be a bad one. That's why Namia suggests to run away and create a new life in another village. She has some savings at her place that would allow her to survive for a time until they can stabilize. She does not want to live such a life where she must marry someone like Draga. Upon hearing that, he gives her a kiss and both of them are confessing their feelings of love. The night has finally come, and the boy is filled with joy thinking that his dark days will be over, and he could be with the person he loves. When he arrives in front of her place, something seems to be wrong. He can hear the girl yelling. Thankfully, nothing seems to happen yet, but his presence here is considered an intrusion. Even so, the boy is angered, and this time he cannot hold himself anymore and throws a punch. Unfortunately, he did not train much enough because his punch was not enough to scratch Draga, and now he's taken down by all three of them. After Kiska took a good beating, Draga proclaims that Namia is his fiancée and wants an explanation on why did he came here. In order to obtain an answer, he's even proceeding with some torture, but the boy is not giving up a word. Unfortunately, Namia is the one who told them everything just to stop the torture. After revealing their plan, Dragna is filled with anger and the girl is taking her last breath of air. Sometime later, Kiska is standing on a teleportation circle towards the S-rank dungeon. This will be his sentence after the blame of Namia's death was thrown upon him. Even though he tried to explain what really happened, he had no power against the village head child. And now he's being teleported with nothing but anger into his heart. Inside the dungeon, the hallways are so long you could not see the end, and the size of the rooms are so big 5 guys could stand on top of another. Not much time have passed, and the boy is being targeted by a rank A bugbear. A creature that is told once encountered you will not be able to return home. However, while crying for someone to help him, something shows up. It's a woman that at first glance it gives me a Yandere vibe. She's giving Kiska the skill Save and Reset, and right after that she disappears. Now the boy is facing the bugbear and thinks of ways to use the ability, but nothing seems to work. One punch later, he's laying down on the ground lifeless. But not too long after that, he's standing on his own feet and wonders what just happened. While wondering why is he still alive after being hit by that creature, guess what? The bugbear is standing behind him and gives him a strong fist in the face. After that, it happened again, and again, and again, and again. This is what I call a bad saving point. After being punched for about 100 times, he realizes that every time the beast is using the fatality on him, he goes back in time. This is the power of the ability he just received. However, this is too much for him. Whatever he does, he cannot escape and ends up in the same way. He just wished to die at this moment, so he will not feel this pain anymore. A thought passes his mind, and that is to turn off the skill. But when he's about to do that, all his memories flooded his thoughts. The person who loved got killed, and after that those who committed the crime managed to put the blame on him. Can his hatred towards them go away just like that? Definitely not. That's why he stands up and tries to fight with the creature. For the next 100 tries, he kept on grinding like me when I encountered the first enemy in Elden Ring. And after that, he understood its pattern, able to dodge its attacks. And finally, he's able to land a hit. But because he's not strong enough, he knows that the creature will overpower him at some point, that's why he starts running. This place is filled with treasures, and while looking for a weapon that could help him, he triggers a trap and the next scene is him falling down into the spikes. 200 tries later, while being chased by the creature, Kiska jumps out of his desire into the trap with the spikes, but manages to dodge a painful fall. Apparently, down there was a secret tunnel that brought him to a room, where he found a treasure chest. When he opened it, a crystal of wisdom was inside. This crystal will allow the person who uses it to pick 1 out of 5 tier skills on his choice. He decides that the best option to survive in this place is to choose the skill Stealth. And oh boy, he did the right decision, because what showed up behind him is something not a normal ability could handle. Dozens of bugbears ready to throw their fists. It appears I thought too big of him, because in the next second he's laying pulseless down on the ground. After he returned back to his save point, he managed to come back to the treasure room. But this time he chose the acceleration ability, allowing him to move to such a speed that the bugbear's movements were seen in slow motion. This seems like an amazing skill and allows him to fight back, but not for too long, because when he's landing on hit on one's head, his hand breaks because of the impact of the acceleration skill, and he's turned back to the last save point. Since he got the skill from the treasure room, he tried using the acceleration for over 300 times, but not even once he managed to deal with the creatures. That's why he came to the conclusion that acceleration is not the skill he needs. He tried for so many times that he's feeling exhausted, and choosing a skill knowing that the creature will appear behind him makes it harder every time. However, when thinking about Namia and what happened, his hatred allows him to continue. This is the only thing that keeps him strong. After another 400 tries, he picked up physical strengthening, which seems to be the best one so far, a balanced skill that provides him with both defense and attack. This time, he finally managed to eliminate his first monster. Because of that, he received a skill point that allowed him to increase his physical strengthening to level 2. He's happy seeing that he can improve the skills, which may allow him to defeat all of them. But when he observed that to upgrade the strengthening to level 3 requires 10 times more points, he lowers his defense. And you know what happened next. At this moment, he does not know how many times he have tried to defeat them, and feels desperate. He even ends up choosing a random skill, Provoke. Even though he believes this skill will be unuseful, he gave it a go, and the results were amazing. By aggroing them, the creature would end up hurting themselves. Because of the anger in their mind, they could not proceed properly. This situation gave Kiska some confidence. To his surprise, the skill allowed him to clean the room and conquer the treasure. After that, an exit appears that brought him to a new level, where a headless mule was roaming. Thankfully, his respawn point has changed to the location of the treasure room, and whenever he dies, he does not have to go through all of it again. While walking through this new part of the dungeon, he finds 3 teleportation circles. Thinking that, whatever happens, he will be respawned at the spawn point, he steps on one of the circles. It appears that he's still inside the dungeon, but there is only one way to go, forward. After walking for a while, he finds a girl trapped in a barrier. She looks like the person who gave him the skill Save and Reset. When Kiska have touched the barrier, she got free, and with no time passing by, it seems that she's awakened. Her name is Aatubaki. She was an ex-hero who got sealed in this location. After exchanging their names, she wants Kiska to bend down, and out of nowhere she gave him a kiss. This is the way she wants to thank him for letting her free. She knows Kiska wants to go out of this place, and without losing any time, she grabs his hand and takes him through the dungeon. The creature from this place have no chance against her, making Kiska believe that sticking with her would allow him to leave the dungeon. They are moving towards the dungeon's mini-boss that will let them move forward. Ajeha is going to fight with the boss because if Kiska would have not showed up, she will still be trapped in the seal. This is another way of thanking him. Once inside, they see a 10 meters tall S-rank golem, which at first seems like Ajeha may conquer easily, until she got hit and lost her power for a moment. That's when our boy make his move and provoke the golem. It worked well and the creature started attacking him, to the point of making the girl believe Kiska got caught. However, he managed to dodge at the last second. This is a thing he became good at after fighting with the bugbears for so long. Because of the last attack, the golem hand seems to be stuck in the wall, and without losing the opportunity, Ajeha jumps in the air, showing off her cotton-free panties and cuts the golem in two. This brings Joyce to her, embracing Kiska with a warm hug. In contrast, he feels optimistic, believing that things will improve. But the expression the girl is showing on her face is telling me something else. After defeating the golem, they went through a secret passage, in a hope to find an exit. What they found at the end of the passage was not something they were expecting, a luxurious room with no trace of enemies around. This place most probably is created by a vampire named Judith, who made this dungeon her stronghold. That's why Kiska is worried that she may come back, and they should not be around when she arrives. However, Ajeha is saying that she is tired, and suggests to spend the night here, inside an isolated place where nobody can stop them from doing the deeds. She even wants Kiska to come closer to her so they can speak some more. Apparently, the boy is concerned that she may consider him weird because of his silver hair, which is not the case. She believes his hair is pretty, and that there is something magical about his hair. Even so, Ajeha may consider that because she's coming from a different world. Upon seeing that the boy believes her, she makes a move and lays her head on Kiska's shoulder, making him feel strangely close to her. A stomach growling breaks the silence, upon which hearing, Ajeha stands up and proclaims that from now on she's going to cook for him. Until now, she collected all the remains of the creatures she slaughtered inside an item box, and now she can take use of the headless mule meat. Since he arrived in this place, Kiska did not manage to eat proper food, and finally being able to taste such good meat makes him drop a few tears. After they are done eating, he's feeling tired and wants to sleep. The problem is that there is only one bed. That's why he's going to sleep on the couch. Hearing what he said, Ajeha suggests that is not necessary, they can both sleep in the bed. However, our boy is no simp and decides not to fall for her juicy trap. While on the couch, he starts thinking about how useless and pathetic he is for relying on Ajeha for everything. And if he did not have her, he had no chance of escaping from this place. His thoughts are being interrupted when Ajeha moves from her bed on top of Kiska and suggests him to do some nasty stuff, such as playing with the feet in the dirt. However, the boy is confused, not knowing why would she love a person like him who did nothing to deserve that. It appears that for hundreds of years Ajeha was sealed in that barrier. She waited all the time hoping for a prince to show up and save her. She even gave skills to everyone who entered the dungeon with the hope of being saved. But not even one of them managed to rescue her, until Kiska have arrived and made all these years disappear in a second. That's why she wants to express her love and let him clap a cheek. Even so, this guy is refusing, since he's in love with someone else. Thankfully or not, that's not a problem for her. If she can be the second one he falls for, it's enough, and starts giving him some tasty smooches. However, memories from what happened with his childhood friend Namia comes back to his mind and throws the girl away. In that moment, she was ugly for Kiska, like those guys who tried to rape Namia. The girl feels down by what happened and goes back to her bed. Now, while in the bed, he realized his behavior was to exaggerate, and once again, he cannot escape the dungeon without her power. That's why the next day he must apologize to her. And yeah, the first thing he saw in the morning was not his blanket making a tent down his waist. It was something I cannot show without being restricted. After realizing that his rejection was too much for the girl's tender heart, and this resulted into the girl receiving the ability of levitating, the boy starts running away, lying to himself that this was just an accident. Not too long after that, he's attacked by some monsters, and the only thing into his mind is that he managed to come so far only because of Ajeha, and without her, he does not have any chance of surviving. After respawning back into the treasure room, before the moment when he rescued Ajeha, he starts asking himself, what was he supposed to do? Accept her love for him? He cannot do that. Namia is his girlfriend. Even though she's dead, he cannot move over and accept somebody else's love. However, just for the sake of escaping this place, he wants to pretend that their love is mutual. And now, in front of the girl's seal, happy that she's still alive, breaks it and approaches the girl. But once free, the girl seems to have a different aura around her. Even though she does not have any memories of Kiska, for some reason the girl is wondering, why is he smelling so bad? Her behavior makes him realize that she is different from before, even though she looks the same, and asks her if she is Ajeha. Upon hearing that, she realizes that this is not the first time they are meeting, and the bad scent that is coming from him must be because last time he went against her. That's why the girl grabs him by the neck and warns him that he can face that as many times as he wants, but the consequences of his action will still reach his soul. Apparently, the two of them are alike in some way, and Ajeha refuses to speak with Kiska. There is no way she would want to speak with him. Apparently, the person in front of him is something such as another personality. This person even tells him that this is the last warning, advising him never to get involved with Ajeha, followed by him collapsing on the ground breathless. For some reason, this boy makes me hate him. The reason is not totally Ajeha's death. That was an extreme action made by her after being rejected because of the boy's trauma, which is understandable. What I hate about him is that he wants to rely on somebody else without even thinking about becoming stronger himself. After being respawned again, Kiska is thinking that there is nothing to do regarding the girl. That's why he will not approach her anymore. This time, when facing the teleportation circles, instead of taking the one in the middle, he's taking the one on the left side. Same as the last time, a long hole that allows you to go just towards one direction appears in front of his eyes, and at the end of it, a well-endowed woman is standing on a chair drinking some tea. At first, she seems rather surprised that an intruder managed to arrive in that place, and shows off a sweet appearance, making the main character believe it's weird that a girl is just relaxing and drinking tea in this hell. When asked what is he looking for, without second thoughts, Kiska expresses that he's looking for a way to get out of this dungeon. However, upon hearing that, the well-endowed woman believes that's rude coming from him. As the great ancestor of the vampires, her presence commands respect. However, the boy's attitude towards her is disrespectful, and in the next moment, she uses her blood to create a wound into his chest. God damn it, another crazy, well-proportionated woman with a great smile. Is it bad for me wishing to be into his place? Apparently, the boy is not appreciating being stepped on by these gorgeous women, and believes that this dungeon is filled with bad people. What a waste. After respawning, he realized the person he just encountered was the vampire Judith Ajeha told him about, and there is no way he could fight against her. That's why this time he's taking the third route, which is the teleportation circle on the right side. This time, at the end of the hall, there is not a person but a sword, with a really suspicious design. Believing this weapon will allow him to become stronger and finally escape this place, he grabs it, and the sharp pain shoots through his entire body. Apparently, this is some kind of cursed item, because after he grabbed the sword, he could not let go of it, and not too long after that, he fainted. Upon waking up, the pain is gone, but his right arm became one with the sword, and while moving through the dungeon, he cannot even move his arm properly because of its weight. However, when a werewolf appears in front of him, the sword appears to have its own mind and goes straight towards his chest, cutting him in four. Seeing that, he gathers some confidence and believes that the sword may allow him to leave this place, no matter what he must give. It's finally the time to approach the mini-boss, but the last time he was together with Ajeha. Would the creature be the same as the last time? Apparently, this time the mini-boss is an S-rank griffon that attacks him the second he enters. Thankfully, the sword is able to dodge its attack. Unfortunately, he's still just a boy who relies on someone else for protection and decides not to stand in the way of the sword. After a while, he finally manages to take down the griffon's head and believes that this black sword will defeat any enemies that came in his way. As he is walking through the dungeon, he becomes more and more tired, while the sword seems to become bigger and take more of his body. Before losing all his strength, Judith, the vampire, appears in front of him, expressing surprise that he's still in control and has become so strong. Seeing her, Kiska is annoyed and wants to know what is she doing there. And again, using that deadly smile, expresses that she wants to dispose of him, or more exactly, of that parasitic sword on his arm. Apparently, this sword is a dangerous thing named parasitic sword, that grows by feeding off people or monster. At first, she thought it would be alright, but now she must take care of it. After ripping one of her arms off, transform it into a sword and starts attacking Kiska with the intent of killing him. It appears the boy managed to fight shoulder to shoulder with Judith and make her fall back for a second, just to unleash more of her power, and takes the boy down using her shallow rainstorm ability. This time, Kiska is in a bad spot and takes a moment to sort things out. Whatever teleportation circle he takes results in him dying. But compared to the one with Ajeha or Judith, the sword route allows him to live the longest. And now, thinking about what Judith said about the sword feeding in humans, he believes by doing so he may release the sword's full potential. With that, he could have a chance of beating the girl. After a while of feeding on the monsters inside the dungeon, Judith finally appears and believes that it's going to be a bit of a challenge to beat him, considering the considerable growth of his sword. Apparently, he overdid it, and the sword took over the man's body consciousness, not allowing him to proceed anymore. This time, he's really desperate. Even after feeding the sword, he cannot win against Judith, and the sword is taking his consciousness after a while, meaning there will be no hope for him even though he managed to escape. When finally embracing his ability and throws away his fear of being killed, he appeals to his last hope and enters one of the teleportation circles. He went to Judith and decided to show respect by bowing his head in front of her. He requested a favor. The boy has finally become a man. He won't be relying on others to protect him anymore and starts believing he may become strong enough to defend himself by becoming Judith's disciple.